We live in interesting times. Today's stories. City of Toronto reaches another milestone in its vaccination effort. Federal government to build a bridge to connect Ottawa and Gatineau. Installation of the 30th Governor General. Montreal ranks top 9 best student city in the world. Masks are mandatory in indoor public spaces for parts of BC's interior. Philippines says US military deal is in full force again. Hello everyone, you're watching Eagle News Canada. I'm Kathleen May Pangan, coming to you from Winnipeg, Manitoba, bringing you stories from around the globe. Our coverage begins now. Despite hesitancy of some Torontonians in getting vaccinated, the city has reached another milestone. Here's Eagle News correspondent Yolanda Aspiras on what this means for Torontonians.
As of this week, the city of Toronto reaches another milestone in its vaccine efforts. More than 80% of Toronto residents 12 years and older have received their first dose and almost 75% with their second dose. Because of the success of the city's homestretch vaccine campaign, resources will now be directed to increasing local mobile clinics, especially in areas where there is a lower vaccine uptake. This will bring the vaccine directly to workplaces, faith groups, organizations, and communities that experience barriers to vaccination. Because of this, Toronto will be adjusting and closing some of its mass immunization clinics mid-August, and they are the following: Carmine Stefano Community Center, Malvern Community Recreation Center, Mitchell Field Arena, North Toronto Memorial Community Center, and Toronto Congress Center. In Toronto's press conference Wednesday, Dr. Eileen De Villa addressed the hesitancy of some Torontonians in getting vaccinated. Let's take a listen.
They may have had a scheduling conflict, or perhaps they've forgotten their second appointment. Some people may be nervous about their second dose, having heard stories about side effects from family or friends. Or they may think that one dose is sufficient protection against the virus. Whatever the reason, and I can't stress this enough, a second dose is critical for your protection. Toronto Public Health and our partners are doing everything we can to spread this message, calling, texting, and emailing all who are eligible for their second dose to get their vaccine as soon as possible.
One of the noted reasons for not getting the vaccine are reports of breakthrough infections, in which a person gets infected by COVID-19 after being fully vaccinated. Dr. De Villa also responded to this concern.
First, and most importantly, breakthrough infections are not common. We hear about them a lot because they are unusual. The second is to remember a person with breakthrough infection almost never gets seriously sick. When they do, there's often other health problems involved. And third, the vaccines are still on the job. They are safe and they work.
On Wednesday, Toronto reported 45 new cases of COVID-19 in the city. 20 people are in the hospital and 1 new death. Dr. De Villa talks directly to the people who have been watching on the sidelines and not getting vaccinated as of yet.
So if you've decided to watch from the sidelines for a while, you can derive confidence by looking at all the people around you who got their vaccinations months ago and who aren't sick but are protected. Here in Canada, we are so lucky to have access to vaccines like we do. There are hundreds of millions of people around the world who would trade places with us in an instant. Having questions about your own health care is totally normal. If you have questions you need answered before you can decide to get vaccinated, I'm only going to ask you this. Find a trustworthy expert and talk with them. Get your questions answered.
In Toronto, Yolanda Aspiras, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
In other news, the Government of Canada will be investing $8.6 million for bridge rehabilitation linking Ottawa and Gatineau. Eagle News correspondent Andre Lavoie with the details.
The federal government will be building a pathway that would link and connect both sides of the Ottawa River in Gatineau and Ottawa, connecting the communities of Gatineau and Ottawa by providing a joint funding to transform the Chief William Commanda Bridge. This will serve as an active transportation corridor for pedestrians and cyclists. The Government of Canada is investing over $8.6 million in the project through the Public Transit Infrastructure stream of the Investing in Canada plan, while the City of Ottawa is contributing approximately $13.9 million toward the structural integrity of the bridge and its piers and the pathway. Today's announcement was made by the Honorable Catherine McKenna, Federal Minister of Infrastructure and Communities, as well as Greg Fergus, Parliamentary Secretary to the Prime Minister, to the President of the Treasury Board, and Minister of Digital Government, as well Member of Parliament for Hull Elmer. His Worship Jim Watson, Mayor of the City of Ottawa, and His Worship Maxime Penneau-Chapin, Mayor of the City of Gatineau, Quebec, as well as the Algonquin Anishi Anabig Nation Grand Chief and Kichigan Zibi Anishi Anabig were also in the attendance. In this infrastructure is a gesture of reconciliation. The bridge was named after William Commanda, who has served as Band Chief of the Kichigan Zibi Anishi Anabig First Nation from 1951 to 1970 and was the Algonquin elders and promoter of the environmental stewardship. Reporting from Ottawa, Canada, this is Andre Lavoie. We live an interesting time.
Meanwhile, Canada named Mary Simon as its first Indigenous Governor General. Eagle News correspondent Sabir Mufti files this report.
Her Excellency, the Right Honourable Mary Simon, was sworn in as the 30th Governor General of Canada during a historic and memorable ceremony that took place at the Senate Chamber. Mary Simon, born in Kenyaswalachuk, Nunavik, Quebec, has attained national and international recognition for her work on Arctic and Indigenous issues and as an advocate for Inuit rights and culture. The Right Honourable Richard Wagner, Chief Justice of Canada, who had also assumed the role of Administrator of the Government of Canada, administered 3 oaths: Oath of Allegiance, Oath of Office of Governor General and Commander-in-Chief of Canada, Oath of the Keeper of the Great Seal of Canada. Miss Simon signed the oath registry following the oaths, which officially installed Mary Simon as Canada's first Indigenous Governor General. During this ceremony, Governor General Mary Simon was presented with 4 collars of office: Order of Canada, Order of Military Merit, Order of Merit of Police Forces, Head of the Canadian Heraldic Authority. The installation ceremony concluded with a performance of O Canada by Mary-Josée Lord. The installation ceremony was followed by a presentation of military honors and the inspection of a Guard of Honor at the National War Memorial, where Her Excellency lay a bouquet of flowers on the tomb of the unknown soldier on behalf of all Canadians. From Ottawa, Canada, this is Sabir Mufti. We live in interesting times.
According to a recent survey, Montreal is ranked the 9th best city for students in the world. Here's Eagle News correspondent Stacey De Campo with more.
QS Kakarali Simmons ranked Montreal as the 9th best city for students in the world. the world's largest international higher education network, connecting universities, business schools, and students that analyzes education throughout the world. QS adduced an amicable student environment and a world-class education as Montreal's main attractions for students across the globe. According to this network, Montreal is also tied with Boston and Paris for 9th place. QS develops and implements successful methods of comparative data collection and analysis used to highlight institutions' strengths that will then be published in QS World University Rankings annually. In order to qualify in the Best Student Cities ranking, cities must have a population of over 250,000 people and be home to at least 2 universities featured in the QS World University Rankings. It's an honor to say that Montreal currently has 3: McGill University, University of Montreal, and Concordia University. In Montreal, Stacey Del Campo will live in interesting times.
More COVID news. As the region sees spikes in COVID-19 cases, health officials have declared new health measures to curb the spread. Eagle News correspondent Vanessa Condi with the details.
Since the easing of restrictions on July 1st in BC, there has been an increase in the number of COVID-19 cases, mainly in the central Okanagan area. To curb the increase in COVID-19 cases, BC officials have announced restrictions such as reimposing a local mask mandate for indoor public spaces for individuals over 12 years old. Restaurants are back to step 3, which means the maximum capacity have been reduced. They are discouraging non-essential travel to the region by people who are not yet fully vaccinated. They have also planned to reduce the second dose interval to 4 weeks to get people vaccinated quicker. Dr. Sue Pollock, Chief Medical Health Officer for Interior Health, has said, "The new cases in Interior Health since July 1st have mainly involved people aged between 20 to 40 years old and those who are not fully vaccinated." The province said the measures will last a minimum of 14 days and up until there has been lower cases and higher vaccination rates. In Victoria, BC, Vanessa Condi, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
During a visit by Pentagon Chief Lloyd Austin, Philippine Defense Secretary says President Rodrigo Duterte has walked back on a decision to end a key military deal with the United States. Duterte told the United States in February last year he planned to axe the Visiting Forces Agreement, VFA, after Washington canceled the visa of a close ally who led his internationally condemned war on drugs. The deal has been prolonged 3 times since then, most recently in June after months of negotiations between the two sides. During a news conference with Austin, who was in Manila on the last stop of a Southeast Asia tour, Philippine Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana said the VFA was in full force again.
One of the reasons that I'm here today is to reaffirm that the U.S. security commitment to the Philippines is ironclad. And that commitment, as Secretary Blinken stated a while back, extends to the South China Sea.
The 1998 VFA provides the legal framework for the U.S. to hold joint military exercises and operations in the Philippines and is a key component of their decades-long alliance. It is also seen as a bulwark against China's growing clout in the region. Austin, who was visiting Southeast Asia for the first time as U.S. Defense Secretary, welcomed Duterte's decision.
This provides us some degree of certainty going forward, so we can plan further in advance, and with that long-range plan, we can actually do more comprehensive exercise.
Coming up, Winnipeg residents receive aid from the Iglesia Ni Cristo. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau thanks Iglesia Ni Cristo for its aid efforts. And for EBC Sports, updates from the NBA Draft. Eagle News Canada will return shortly.
Hello sa lahat ng mga members ng Iglesia Ni Cristo sa buong mundo. Binabati ko kayo ng happy 107th anniversary. Thanks for all you do to the community and continue to be a partner in nation building. Again, maligayang anibersaryo sa inyong lahat.
Ako po ay taos-pusong bumabati sa ating mga kapatid sa loob ng Iglesia ni Cristo. Happy 107th anniversary to all the brethren here in the Philippines and all around the world. Naway ipagpatuloy niyo po ang walang sawang pagkalingap at pagtulong ninyo. Dalangin ko po na patnubayan na tayong lahat ng ating may kapal at patuloy pang maging matagumpay ang mga gawain sa loob ng Iglesia. Maraming salamat po.
Congratulations and happy 107th anniversary to the members and the officers of Iglesia Ni Cristo. I think it's wonderful that one of your chapels is one of the many different faith communities here in the city of Burlingame. It's an honor to help you celebrate your history today, and I hope this day is filled with joy, celebration, and peace. Salamat.
Greetings and happy 107th anniversary to all the members of Iglesia Ni Cristo from all over the world. Special greetings to your dynamic leader, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo. Congratulations and more power. And again, happy 107th anniversary.
I would like to convey my sincere greetings and warmest congratulations to the entire Iglesia Ni Cristo brethren on the occasion of your 107th anniversary. I also extend my best wishes for the good health and continued success of Executive Minister Brother Eduardo V. Manalo and the leaders of the Iglesia Ni Cristo. Mabuhay po kayong lahat.
Hello sa lahat ng mga members ng Iglesia Ni Cristo sa buong mundo. Binabati ko kayo ng happy 107th anniversary. Thanks for all you do to the community and continue to be a partner in nation building. Maligayang anibersaryo po sa inyong lahat.
Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News Canada. I am Kathleen Maypangan from Winnipeg, Manitoba. In the city of Winnipeg, Manitoba, members of the Iglesia Ni Cristo Church of Christ recently reached out to residents of a nearby women's shelter. Due to the lack of goods, the North Point Douglas Women's Shelter reached out to the Iglesia Ni Cristo for assistance. This outreach is part of the celebrations for the 107th anniversary of the church. Items such as canned goods, toiletries, and PPE items such as hand sanitizers and face masks were provided. In a show of support, Kevin Lamoureux, a member of parliament in the province of Manitoba, joined the event. Meanwhile, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau recognizes the outreach efforts of the Iglesia Ni Cristo Church of Christ amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Here is Eagle News correspondent Atsley Sakmar with a story.
The COVID-19 pandemic uncovered and exacerbated many social issues and problems here in Canada, one of which is hunger. According to Statistics Canada, 1 in 7 Canadians live in food insecurity. Today, we are looking back at the generous efforts of the Church of Christ, or the Iglesia Ni Cristo, together with the Felix Y. Manalo Foundation here in Canada, how they have spent this past year helping out their neighbors, communities, and food banks across the country. Let's begin here, where we are, at the city of Toronto, as they reached out to North York Harvest Food Bank back in October. The Iglesia Ni Cristo members in the Greater Toronto area donated 600 boxes of food items and $5,000 in cash to the North York Harvest Food Bank, one of the largest food banks in Toronto and one that has become a regular recipient of food donations from the Felix Y. Manalo Foundation these last couple of years. Last October, the Church of Christ members in British Columbia generously sent 500 care packages containing canned goods and hygiene products along with hand sanitizers to the community of Suwali First Nations in Chilliwack, British Columbia. The Iglesia Ni Cristo members in Edmonton donated to two organizations last October, the Veterans Association Food Bank and the local Edmonton Food Bank. They gave a total of 300 boxes of food and a $2,000 check to these organizations. It's only halfway through the year, and the Iglesia Ni Cristo members have continued to reach out to their communities and have donated food and care packages to those in need. Let's take a look. In April, 5 and 2 Kitchen, a soup kitchen and food bank here in Toronto, has written to the Felix Y. Manalo Foundation to seek their assistance in providing food support for marginalized communities in the city. And just this May, Maison du Père, a local food bank in Montreal, and the Filipino Association of Montreal and the Suburb Center, a community center for Filipinos in Quebec, received food donations from the Iglesia Ni Cristo members in Montreal and Ottawa areas. These generous efforts did not go unnoticed by the Canadian government. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau thanked the Iglesia Ni Cristo's Felix Y. Manalo Foundation, saying its efforts play a valuable role in keeping Canadian families safe and healthy amid the COVID pandemic. As the Iglesia Ni Cristo Church of Christ and the Felix Y. Manalo Foundation have shown, the pandemic has never been and will never be a reason not to show one's generosity, charity, and love to those who are in need. In Toronto, Ashley Sakmar, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
History was made Thursday at the NBA draft as Filipino-American guard Jalen Green was selected as the second overall pick to the Houston Rockets, the second highest selection for an Asian American player. Here's Eagle News correspondent Tenny Sumage with more on Green and this year's draft.
Two former G League Ignite teammates will now begin their journey in the NBA. Filipino-American shooting guard Jalen Green was selected by the Houston Rockets as the second overall draft pick in Thursday's NBA draft. Green is one proud Pinoy who can't wait to represent the Philippines in the NBA.
Man, I'm always excited to represent the Philippines. So the fact that this is ties in Houston, it's kind of like it was scripted. So I'm excited to take that out there and just represent and put on for the Philippines. And can't wait to meet everybody and see the fans. It's going to be exciting. The Philippines loves me for me. So I'm just going to keep being myself. I'm going to keep working hard and staying in the gym. It's not really a responsibility. It's the game I love, and they support me. So I just can't wait to get out there and just put on for them. I'm excited.
Green's Ignite teammate Jonathan Kuminga will head to the Bay Area as the Golden State Warriors selected Kuminga as the 7th overall draft pick. The Congolese forward is thankful for the opportunity to play alongside 3 great NBA champions in Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green.
I always thanks God. I had a big body, and then, I was lucky to be in this position, and I feel like that's the type of competition I'm looking forward to, As long as I grew around Steph Curry, Klay, Draymond Green, I feel like my game going to go from the bottom to the top in a couple months as I get along and get used to them people because, they're going to always push me. They're going to always put me in the right situation, and I feel like no matter wherever we end up, we're ready to compete and win a championship.
And that's a wrap for this week's sports news. In New York, Tenny Sumagi Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
On behalf of Eagle News Canada and our bureaus across the country, we wish to greet the Iglesia ni Cristo and the Executive Minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, a happy 107th anniversary. That's today's Eagle News Canada. Join us again next week as you bring stories that matter to you. Visit our website at eaglenews.net and eaglenewslive.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/eaglenews and on Facebook at facebook.com/eaglenews. Thank you for watching. I am Kathleen May Pangan. We live in interesting times.